Welcome, everyone. This is Michael Gibbs from Go Cloud Careers and Go Cloud Architects, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. As many of you know, I'm the founder and CEO of Go Cloud Architects and Go Cloud Careers, and I've been in this tech industry now for over 25 years. And I've been in networking, cloud computing, information security, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful time. And I've absolutely loved it. And because I've had such a wonderful career, I want to help you build the best career. And whether you're trying to become a cloud architect or a solution architect or an enterprise architect or a network architect, we want to help you. I remember when I started my networking career about 25 years ago, I did what everybody else told me to do, get certified. I spent over $20,000 in the course of a month on certification training, and that was 25 years ago, which is worth $50,000, $60,000 in today's training. And guess what? I applied for jobs and not a single employer cared. But guess what? I was able to speak to recruiters. I was able to find out exactly what hiring managers wanted. And a matter of a month later, not only was I hired, but I ultimately 6 months later became the lead architect on my team, which was the world's largest internet service provider in the world. And I was the most critical team there. So the point is any of you can go from any career you want to be a cloud architect, solution architect. You can all get cloud architect jobs. You can all get solution architect jobs. You can all get enterprise architect jobs. The key is learning the right skills, the right preparation, and doing what you want. So that's why I'm here. Maybe you desire to be a cloud engineer. Maybe you desire to be a cloud architect, a DevOps engineer, a network engineer, network architect. I just want to help you get to your goals. See, in the last 25 years of working in tech, I've helped countless people get their first tech job or get promoted in tech. So while we're waiting for you guys to ask questions, and we're here to help you ask as many questions as you want to build the best career. So tomorrow and the rest of the week, we have a completely free Cisco Certified Network Associate program. It's a complete program. Last week, and go back and see all of last week's. And again, we're going to start tomorrow. And we'll be on from 12 to 3 tomorrow, the next day, all through Friday to make sure you guys all learn networking. Why? The cloud is nothing more than a virtual network and a data center network that's been virtualized. So guess what? If you know the network, you know the cloud. And guess what? If you don't know the network, you don't know the cloud. And look, the networking is not covered in the AWS Advanced Networking. That's not even an intro to junior level networking. But guess what? In the CCNA, we will cover networking. Put it into context, the AWS Advanced Networking, about a 250-page book. CCNA, about 2,000 pages. So we're going to give you much, much, much more to kind of help you that. So what I'd like you to do now is if you've got any questions about building your career, I'd like you to ask them, and I will do anything I can to answer them. But, just make sure that this whole session is about building your best career. Let me also make sure that you've got one or two other options. I also want you to know that we have a completely free AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate and Professional ebook. The link is in the description below. This starts you as if you never heard of cloud computing and gets you all the way to the Certified Solution Architect Professional exam. It's the one book you need. It's the only book you need. And you can do that along with our free training, and you'll have all you need for AWS certification. And it's all completely free, courtesy of Go Cloud Architects and Go Cloud Careers. So if any of you have any questions on building your best career, please ask them. We want to help you in every way. So if you've got some questions, ask them. That's why we're here, to help you build the best cloud computing career, whether it's a cloud architect career or a cloud computing career. Now, on Thursday, I'm going to invite you all to our How to Get Your First Cloud Architect Job. This will be a webinar that you don't want to miss. We will tell you the following: how to get your first cloud architect job. We will tell you what hiring managers want in the perfect hire, so you know how to get hired. We will tell you how to leverage your past experience, so there's no such thing as no experience when you get hired. We will tell you how to get your resume past HR so you don't get auto-rejected and you can get that first cloud architect job or a solution architect job or cloud engineer job or network engineer job or network architect job, whatever career you want. And if you've got any cloud architect career development questions or technical career development questions, or you just want to build the best career, now's your time. So on this free webinar, we will tell you everything you need to do to get cloud hired. So I strongly, strongly, strongly encourage you to join the free How to Get Your First Cloud Architect Job webinar. And do that, and then we'll teach you how to get cloud hired and go out there and build your best cloud architect career, solution architect career, or any career you desire. So Chris, if there's any questions from my team, please bring, or any questions from the audience, please bring them. If not, I can go through and talk about some leadership things for the day. Lather, rinse, repeat. Hi, Mike. Which CCNP track is best suited for aspiring generic architects? CCNP Enterprise Networking or CCNP Data Center Solutions? Truth be told, that's a tough one because the reality is the cloud architect is really more of a data center architect than network architect. And the reality is either one of these certifications will be fine. So if you did the CCNP Enterprise Networking, they've got an architecture or design solution option. Take that. And guess what? If you're doing it in the data center, still take the design. So, either one would be good. I think you could actually get both with actually taking just a single test or two. So basically, there's 3 exams. There used to be 4 exams when I did the CCNP, but I think 2 or 3 of them are common. So you actually might be able to do both. Now, I'm not big on getting 1,000,001 certifications. And here's why. If you get 1,000,000 certifications, the world sees you as a techie. And if the world sees you as a techie, they don't see you as a cloud architect or a solution architect. They see you as a techie. And here's the difference. Now, lather, rinse, repeat. I'm going to tell you why we don't want to get too many certifications as a cloud architect. Because as a cloud architect, what is our job? It is digital transformation. It is solving customers' problems with technology. And lather, rinse, repeat. As a cloud architect, what we're really looking for is the business acumen to take customer problems and drives technology solutions. We're looking for leadership skills. We're looking for emotional intelligence. We're looking for stellar presentation skills. The business acumen to do an ROI model, but also know how to be CXO relevant. How do you communicate to the CEO versus the CFO versus the CIO versus the CTO? These are there. So if you had either one of these CCNPs, you'd be really good. So, but the question is, what career do you want? And that's really the thing. So the CCNP and the Azure Expert, perfect for a cloud infrastructure architect. The AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional and the CCNP, again, perfect for an infrastructure architect and etc. So, for a generic cloud architect, part of me says you're almost just as good, getting a little mini Linux one and a CCNA and the Certified Solution Architect Professional or the Azure Expert. For a generic cloud architect, if you want to focus more on security, I tend to like the CISSP or CCSP plus the Azure Expert Google Professional Cloud Architect or the AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional. Now, I caution you, don't get too many certifications or you'll become unhireable as an architect. Hireable as an engineer, but unhireable as an architect. In fact, lather, rinse, repeat, we often remove a lot of certifications from people's resumes. We see people that have too many certifications and they apply for jobs and they've been rejected. Then we look at the resume and we take like coding, wrote a Python script, and we talk about that we change it to design Python script that improved the business's performance by XYZ% by integrating the machine learning, et cetera, et cetera. So what we have to do is show the transformation, not the techie. So you'd be good with either the CCNP Enterprise Networking or the Data Center Solutions, but you might be able to just take one test and get both certifications. Combine that with the Azure Expert Certified Solutions Architect Professional, you've got a golden, not even diamond or platinum resume for a cloud architect or a cloud network architect. So you are in good shape with either of those. And if you do the two together and just one AWS certification, like the Certified Solution Architect Professional and the Azure Expert, that is perfect. Cisco has got a tremendous amount of weight in the data center world. And when Cisco runs an exam, it's not like an AWS exam. I love AWS. It's a wonderful cloud. It's a great cloud, but their exams are all about jargon. Could you learn the silly name of the service? And then that's it. So the challenge of the AWS exam is figuring out that a virtual machine is called Elastic Compute Cloud, or figuring out, the fancy names and then mapping it down. With the Cisco things, they're going to teach you what is the tech, how does the tech work, how to design it, how to solve customer problems. Cisco would never give you the name of a service and how to configure it because Cisco designs customers. And Cisco's been working with customers for decades and they're darn good at solving customer business problems. So either one of those two would be a perfect, right? And if you happen to do both plus one cloud certification, what you'll have in a portfolio will be so solid. And you'll have the technical competency, or at least you're going to get a fair amount of it from Cisco, which you wouldn't get from the AWS certifications. I love the AWS certifications, but realistically speaking, they're the name of the service and how to configure it. And architects don't configure anyway. They design. So there's no design in there, but there's lots of design in these, and they'll be very helpful for you. Good job, lather, rinse, repeat. Love the CCNP. Either one would be good. I'd probably err to the networking side. But if you have the motivation to do that extra test and do both, that's what I would do. Great question, lather, rinse, repeat. And I'm so happy you asked it. And I'm so happy you're here. Now, Chris, if you want to bring in the next question. Remy, when can we have another mock interview session? You would like to sign up for another one? I think we can probably arrange one late in February. I kind of love doing it. I want you guys all to be prepared for what an actual cloud architect interview is. You know, people have it in their head that these cloud architect interviews are techie. You know, my students get hired every day and they're like, Mike, you know, they stopped the technical. They said I was enough. They said then they just asked me behavioral presentation. And I say, yes, here's the thing. But architects are system designers. So yes, the interview thing is great. Remy, to let you know, we have an incredible cloud architect, our technical interview mastery program. It's very inexpensive for what it is. I put it together. I worked with one of the larger national recruiting firms to put it together, and the people did absolutely fantastic. The students have been using it. They've been getting hired like crazy, assuming they have the skills. So if you're already ready, that's there, and but you can do that as well. But if you're interested in just the free stuff, we'd love to do a mock interview, Remy, in the future. I'd be more than honored to do it. Chris from my team will send something out later in February. And he'll invite lots of people because we want to get you all participating because, you know, we want you all getting cloud hired. Love working in tech. I've done it for decades. I used to practice medicine before I went into tech. And let me tell you, tech is much more fun. So wherever you're at, love to get you there and love to help you, Remy. So later in February. If you guys have some questions, please ask some questions. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe, you know, all that regular YouTube and social media stuff. But really, we're here just to help you get your first job. So make sure you join us on Thursday's free webinar. It will help you get hired. Tasha Lecture, hello, sir. Can you explain about your cloud architect career development course? Does it deal with multiple cloud providers? So Tech Electric, let me tell you what we do. First and foremost, there is no such thing as a single cloud. That is dead. That is the death of the solution architect job. A solution architect only knows one cloud. And roughly about 3% of customers are willing to go a single cloud. And 97% of customers realize a single cloud is a single point of failure. So Tech Electric, we teach all clouds because you can't work without knowing all clouds. And Tech Electric, here's where people go wrong. When I learned how to drive, I drove a car. I learned this was a steering wheel, this was the gear shift, this was the key, this was the emergency brake, this is the gas, and this is the accelerator. And guess what, Tech Electric? All the clouds are like driving any single car. They're like nearly identical. In fact, I've been working on clouds since 1997. The first cloud I worked on was Frame Relay, then ATM, then VPLS, then it was BGP, RFC 2547 VPNs. I've been doing clouds for 20 plus years. They're not new. And here's the thing, Tech Electric, every time Amazon has a new press release, and I know one guy that likes to make 50 press releases a day, every press release is a 40-year-old network and data center technology. Nothing's new. So here's the thing, Tech Electric, we teach you the network and the data center, and we teach you all clouds. And that way, if you've got a virtual machine on VMware, KVM, QEMU, AWS, Azure, Google, Dell, or Cisco, guess what? You still know what to do. So we teach all clouds. And in every single live class, we teach 2 clouds. We usually do AWS and Azure because they're the 2 primarily ones. We always do something with OpenStack or Nutanix. We spend a lot of time with those clouds as well. We often do some Google Cloud stuff and Oracle Cloud stuff as well. But you know, the key is every architect, if they want to get a job in the future, needs to know every cloud. But Tech Electric, I'm going to make real clear. An architect is only 50% tech. And if you just get certified and had all 50 cloud certifications from every cloud provider, it's still not enough to get hired, and here's why. Architecture, the cloud certifications are the name of a service and how to configure that service. So imagine taking a doctor and saying, here's your 5 pills. These are the dosages. No, I'm not going to teach you how to diagnose. No, I'm not going to teach you how to ask your patient questions, but here's 5 pills. Go hand them out. Now, that's what the AWS training is. It's like, Here's DynamoDB. Here's how to configure it. But when you can use DynamoDB? When is DynamoDB the worst solution? And if you want to go multi-cloud, you're not using DynamoDB. You're not using Amazon Aurora either. You're using MongoDB or Apache Cassandra. And as a cloud architect, you need to know these things. So in our Cloud Architect Career Development course, we will teach you all the clouds. We will teach you how to architect things so they work on all clouds at the same time. We will teach you how to make the cloud security incredible, because nobody's going to be using AWS WAF as their security. Why? Because it's not industrial grade. If they're a small business, sure, but we're going to be dealing with virtualized firewalls from Cisco, Palo Alto, Fortinet, front-ended by load balancers, front-ending their IDS, IPS system. We're going to be using commercial databases, commercial IAM software. 99% of it is going to be commercial, enterprisey stuff. The same stuff that we use in Azure, the network, and the data center. So Tech Electric, we will teach you everything. We'll teach you system design, and that's the tech piece. But, the tech piece is only half of the cloud architect job. That's why being technically competent isn't enough to get you hired. But what is? We will teach the executive communication skills, the presentation skills, the leadership skills, the emotional intelligence skills, the negotiation skills, how to be relevant to the CEO, the CFO, the CIO, the CTO, how to do an ROI model to show the customer that $1 billion on your technology architecture is going to generate $2 billion of business value. We will teach you how to sell. We will teach you how to interview, and we will get you cloud hired. That's right. We will get you cloud hired. Every day, one of my students calls me and says, guess what? I got my first cloud architect job. Last night, it was 8 o'clock at night. I was in tears speaking to one of my students who just got hired. And it happens every day, and I'm in tears every day because it makes me excited, because otherwise, I'd stay retired. I retired a while ago. I don't need to work, but I love when people get their first tech job. And really, when somebody calls me and says, hey, Mike, I came to this country with nothing, or I had a hard life. I owed money on my car. I don't even have a house. And now I've got a job that's paying me this. I can do this. It's what makes me tick. I love it. So love to work with you, Tech Electric. And if you've got more questions, sure. But everything we do is multi-cloud, because that's the reality of life. That's the reality of your customers. And we would never teach you anything that your customers don't demand. And Tech Electric, here's what we do. I speak to recruiters and hiring managers and CEOs all the time. Why? So they can say, this is what I want in the perfect cloud architect, and that's what we do. So we constantly ask our customer, what do you desire? And we constantly make sure our product is exactly what the customer desires, because guess what? If you're the hiring manager's dream hire, not only do you get hired, whether you've got experience or not, but you're paid more because they love you. So when you go to buy a car, what do you buy? If you can afford it, you buy the one you want. You buy a suit, if you can afford it, you buy the one you want. You buy a computer, if you can afford it, you buy the one you want. So we're going to make you, and everybody takes our program, exactly what the hiring managers want, so they can get cloud architect hired, or cloud hired, as we like to say. If you've got other questions, Tech Electric, I'd love to answer them. Otherwise, Chris, if you want to bring in the next one. Kayam Cahill, do you think it's a good idea to go to a specialty cert after the solutions architect, i.e. security or networking? So here's my perspective. We tell all of our students to never, ever waste their time on something like the security or AWS Advanced Security and Networking. And here's why. In reality, that AWS Advanced Security isn't even an intro to 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 junior level networking. In fact, it's so weak that it's meaningless to the employers. And when you start doing the AWS Advanced Security, again, it's like an intro to 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 junior level security. And the other problem is when you do that security, it's all the AWS security stuff. And in a multi-cloud environment, we're not using any of it. So I'm not going to use WAF. I'm going to replace it with 2 Palo Alto virtual firewalls, or Cisco firewalls, or Checkpoint firewalls, or Fortinet firewalls. I'm going to be using some real commercial grade enterprise IDS, IPS functionality, not the AWS stuff. Why? Because I'm going to be using the same things on 3 different clouds. So plus this stuff is much robust. Who do you want to buy your tech from? Fortinet, that's nothing other than security. Cisco, that's been making firewalls for 30 years. Or AWS, that just got into cloud computing a decade ago. And oh, by the way, as a hobby, we're making some security services, but we do a little everything. We're a jack of all trades and a master of none. Or Palo Alto, that's got billions of dollars of research into just firewalls. So I strongly recommend skipping every one of those certifications. In fact, the only AWS certification I recommend is the AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional for architects. Now, there are people that like to be DevOps engineers. And for the DevOps engineers, I also like the AWS DevOps professional certification, but only for DevOps engineers, not architects, because architects are system designers and DevOps engineers are engineers who do these things. So I strongly advise none of the AWS certifications. In fact, me and a lot of the hiring managers I know, if somebody comes to me with more than 1 or 2 AWS certifications, we won't even talk to them or interview them, because we know they're so focused on certifications, they're not focused on learning cloud architecture. So the last 4 people that said, hey, Mike, I'd like to develop a course for you. I'm 7X or 10X AWS certified. Here's what happens. I ask just the basic IP addressing question and nobody can answer it, because if you want to be a pilot and you dedicate your whole life to being a pilot, you're going to be a good pilot. If you want to be a doctor and you want to practice cardiology, if you dedicate your whole life to cardiology, you'll be darn good at it. But if that doctor spends time in veterinary medical school, hairdressing school, car repair school, computer tech school, that doctor is not going to be a great doctor. No, they're good to fix your computer, maybe a little bit. They'll know a little bit about walking your dog, cleaning your house. But that doctor is not going to save you when you're critical. So we recommend the Certified Solution Architect Professional. If you want to do a networking or have a networking career, we like the Cisco Certified Network Professional or the Cisco Certified Internet Expert, something that makes you stand out from the rest. If you like security, in addition to that AWS Certified Solution Architect Professional or the Azure Expert or the Google Professional Cloud Architect, one of the 3, not all, we like to see a CISSP or a CCSP. So really what we're doing, KM, is we're looking for the things that would get you a job almost on your own that make you stand above the crowd, and we're getting those. We're getting things that show mastery. We're not wasting any of our times on AWS's intro to junior level. The employers won't take you seriously. They'll take you less seriously if you have it than if you didn't have it. And when you compare a CCNP to an AWS Advanced Networking, it's not even. So to put it in the context, the Cisco Certified Network Professional, from the time you start to the time you receive it, is 10,000 pages of reading. The AWS Advanced Networking is 250. 10,000, 250. You do the math, you can see how topical and how basic the AWS Advanced Networking is. So I tell everybody not to do it unless they want to do it as an intro to networking before they do a CCNI. And regarding, is there a place to practice on? The students in my programs definitely have places to practice doing networking in labs. Now, yeah, so what I would recommend is as follows. Now, just getting a certification will not get you hired. And that's why we have the Cloud Architect Career Development Program. But your next certification after the Certified Solutions Architect Associate is the Certified Solutions Architect Professional. Do not get multiple associates. Don't even think about it. Here's what happens when you have 4 associates. You've signaled the hiring manager that you have 4 junior level certifications that are almost enough to do the job, but not really. And they wonder, why does this person not have focus? So Certified Solution Architect, Associate, Professional, no more. Then figure out what field you want to do. If you want to do security, get a CISSP or CCSP. If you want to do networking, get a CCNP or a CCIE. If you want to be a big data person, look at the biggest big data thing. If you want to be an architect to focus on big databases, figure out something from there. So figure out what specialty you want and get that specialty from the industry. I had to read 75,000 pages from my CCIE. That was not, that's what it was. And that was when I just learned networking. But when I finished my CCIE and my number 747, back when it used to be a challenging hard day, I'd say that's when I started to learn after my CCIE. Up to that was just getting basic technical competency. After the Cisco Certified Internet Expert, that's when I got to learn. That's when I started working on billion-dollar projects. That's when I started the consulting. That's when I started doing things that no one ever did before. That's when I learned. So go straight to the professional and we'll help you. But remember those other things. Leadership skills, executive communication skills, ROI modeling, CXO relevancy, negotiation skills, the ability to present in front of a 5,000 person audience because you're going to do it. The ability, because as an architect, you're going to be in news magazines constantly speaking to the press. As an architect, you're going to find yourself leading large teams. You've got to have these skills: the business, the leadership, the communication, sales, executive presence. That's your skill set as an architect. 50% business, 50% technical. And I remember when I first took my first architect job, I was a deeply technical engineer, and they said, Mike, You realize you're not going to be technical. And I'm like, of course I will. I'm designing things. And they said, but you're never going to touch the tech again. And I said, that can't be. So about 20 some years ago, I left engineering and became an architect, and poof, now I'm meeting with CEOs. I'm speaking at conferences. I'm designing BGP peering things and BGP policies for the world's largest internet service providers. But guess what? I didn't touch the tech. It's that business, leadership, emotional intelligence, communication skills, executive presence. That's the secret. That's the secret to getting an architect job. The engineering job is all about the tech. See, architects design, engineers build. So kind of keep that in your mind, and you will have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful cloud architect career. And it'll be fantastic, and you will love every last minute of it, and I want you to enjoy every minute of it. Chris, if you want to bring in the next question. Asaya, hi Mike and Chris, please advise how to apply for a Cloud Architect International post. You're based in Africa. Well, here's the thing. What I would do is I would find myself some really good recruiters, some really strong recruiters. And when you have that, I'd start reaching out to recruiters. Now, many recruiters that are out there work with companies that sponsor H-1B visas and other visas. So that's what I would do. That would be an opportunity to come to the US. Canada has been doing this massive influx looking for immigrants. And I have some of my students that have recently gone to Canada from other countries, India especially, and Africa, that have gotten great architect jobs. So there's the way you can do the H-1B visa approach. Canada's looking for refugees. They're searching for them. They're even giving credits to move there. Now, also, if you go out there and build your network and you build your perfect portfolio and you have the leadership skills, the emotional intelligence, the communication skills, and you're writing articles and you're getting the world to see you, and they see you as an architect, you can do remote jobs too from Africa. I've got students in Africa that some people, and I know people that do remote jobs. I routinely get asked to support clients in Asia from Florida. So, there's plenty of it out there. But the key is, I say, be really good at your skill. Be so good that people need you. Get your name out there. With my students, I have them write certain blogs and articles. I have some of my students actually, co-author sections of a book with me just so I can get their name out there so they get writing experience and be known. So go out there and build yourself a name. Go out there and make some quality posts on LinkedIn. Show the world that you're not a certified junkie, that a certification junkie with a bunch of tech. Show the world that you know digital transformation. Show how you can solve customer problems with technology. Explain how something works in depth. What is the tech? How does it work? Why should an organization use it? Really get into the meat of it. You do that, the world will find you. For example, one of my students, his name was Ran, and he really had a lot of Kubernetes background. So I said, I'm going to co-author a blog with you. And I made sure it was deep. He wrote it real deep. And we co-authored it together. And by the end of the day, he had to shut off his phone because he had 86 voicemails of people that were interested in hiring him for positions. So the key is it has to be good. It can't be like some engineer thing together. And I love engineers, but if you're an architect and you just talk tech, and you mention acronyms and buzzwords, that gets us unhired. But if you really legitimately can talk about how the technology can solve a business problem and how that technology can innovate, how that technology can make the world a better place, make the customer's environment better, foster communication, foster new designs to the market faster. Reducing costs in the equation, increasing sales. You do that, the world's going to come search for you because they're going to pluck you and put you in their business. So, when I started my career with Saya, I focused on the tech. And let me tell you, I watched my friends, rise, and I was stuck there focusing on the tech. And I had a manager pull me over and he said, Mike, let me tell you this. He said, do you know the difference between a $150,000 engineer and a $300,000 architect? Tell me, Don, tell me. And he said, it's leadership, it's emotional intelligence, it's executive presence, it's communication skills, it's CXO relevancy, it's ROI modeling. It's basically, Mike, stop certifying on things. Focus on your leadership. And he did. And let me tell you, it changed my career overnight. So when you are new, be more likable, and you'll be more hireable. When you're experienced, be more likable and you get paid more. So focus on the likability, the leadership, the communications, the RL modeling. Write documents that show how you can solve problems with technology. Write leadership things, write business acumen things. Let the world see you as a leader once they see you are. And that's the key. It's to look really good and really strong and show yourself, but make sure it's right. For example, I saw a certification provider, a famous one, trying to describe block storage, and they were using file storage in their notebook to do it. And what they really didn't understand was that block storage is a storage area network. And the reason that works in our systems is all systems is the mapping is similar, and the storage area network of block storage feels like a hard drive, but they're totally different technologies. So I want you to know it. Show that you are an expert. Show that you can make a difference. Show that, and then guess what? Now you're an expert, and the world sees you, and the world needs experts, and they'll come to you. So that's what I would do if I was you, and that's what I do all the time. I write these things, and I literally speaking, I'm not joking. If I put cloud architect in my title, I will get 3 to 6 job offers per day just by making a social media post like that or write an article. So that's my guidance. It works. My students do it all the time, and they get hired all the time. But you got to have the skills too. Chris, if you want to bring in the next one. And actually, you know what? I should mention this. I don't really like to talk about sales or business too often. That's not really who I do about our company. But many students have asked us, and they called us and said, Mike, I want your program so badly. It's a little pricey. So we decided to run a special 25% off discount code. Join our community, join our team. I think the sale goes on for a couple more hours, or is it a day? I don't know. Chris knows from my team, and he's popping in the window. Chris, you can tell everybody when the sale ends. I don't know because I don't make the sales, but I'd like you to know that it's available. Chris, when does it end?
The sale will end at midnight tonight.
Midnight tonight. Okay.
Eastern time.
Okay. Thanks, Chris. So if you're looking to get cloud hired and you want to take advantage of our special, please take advantage of it. The link is is the coupon in the description below, Chris, or did you pop it in the window?
It is in the chat box.
Okay, fantastic. Sounds great. B2 point, with the certifications in networking, cloud, and security, round you out for C-level discussions? Not even close. In fact, none of that will prepare you. So for example, if you have to discuss moving to the cloud, now in a certification, they say, hey, the cloud goes from capital to operational expenses, and it's great. You say it to one chief financial officer or chief executive officer, you will be ejected out of the room so fast, you'll be fired from your company, and your replacement will thank you because they're going to have a great job where they're going to talk about weighted average cost of capital and ROI modeling and expected value of a solution. For example, you deal with 3 basically types of executives. You deal with an intuitive executive like me that's a strategist, but you give me numbers, facts, and figures, and we're going to have a heart attack. You get an analytical person like my chief operating officer, Chris. He needs numbers. He needs metrics. And let me tell you, that's the common chief financial officer, chief operating officer. They're analytical like Chris, super smart, and he solves the things that I can't in a different way. And you'll also deal with the process-oriented type. The people that are process-oriented, you know how to deal with that. You might need to know how to speak with the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic type. You've got to be able to ask a customer about their business. Look at their sales, their financial statements. What are the analysts saying about them? Based upon all that, what kinds of digital transformation can you do? What's the identification of the problem? Is it the people, the process, or the technology? None of that's covered in any certifications. None of it. Now, I'd say 50% of that is covered in an MBA. And you've got really 2 options. What I did is I spent about $250,000 learning these skills. And no, they're not covered in certifications. Now, to be fair, Cisco paid about $150 of the $250,000 that I spent on it. I'm going to tell you this: of $250,000 of sales, it made that much of a difference in my salary that it paid itself back in a single year, and it will for you too. But certifications are just tech. Certifications will help you get an engineering job, but not an architect job. You must learn how to present in front of a 10,000 person audience because you're going to be doing it. When the media comes to you, and they will be as a cloud architect, it's just a matter of time, you have to know how to deal with the media. When you're with these things, you'll be doing executive briefings. where what's going to happen is the company's going to bring in their CEO, their CFO, their CTO, and a couple of managers. And your company's CEO will go in, your company's EVP of sales will go in, and you as an architect are going to present them. That's kind of normal. You'll be presenting at conferences constantly. You'll be writing documents for the CEO versus the management versus the engineers. You will have to translate between the business things that the people say and your engineers and architects that are going to design the things, or that are going to help you design it and implement it. And then that's just the beginning of it. You're going to have to negotiate deals, and you're going to have to know how to negotiate. That's why we use the work of the Harvard Negotiation Project and Chris Voss. And you're going to have to know how to sell. And if you can't sell, your replacement will thank you. So you're going to have to sell. You're going to have to do proof of concepts with 50 cloud engineers that are going to do your work. And they don't work for you, and you're going to have to manage them. And if they don't do the job, you get fired. So you've got to have the business acumen. So then you're going to have to be doing constant writing. The company's going to ask you to write white papers for publication. The company will have you on video things as an architect. And guess what? As far as even an interview, it's going to involve the presentation. So no, you can do these one of two ways. You could take our Cloud Architect Career Development Program. And if you do that, we cover all of it in there. It's really a $50,000 program that we choose to charge $1,000 for. Well, $750 with today's discount. But it's a $50,000 program of business acumen and leadership, communication skills, all those things that are there. But no, there is not a single certification that will ever prepare you for any business level conversations ever. And even an MBA, I have an MBA. In an MBA, they teach you to write a 20-page paper. You know what happened when I wrote a 20-page paper and sent that to a bunch of C-level executives after my MBA program? I got really lucky. My manager said, don't do this ever again, or your replacement will thank you. And he gave me a second chance. So I rewrote it within 2 pages, got rid of all the acronyms, buzzwords, got 3 promotions in a year. So that's the key. The key really is you've got to learn that business, and it's not covered anywhere. So train with us. If you don't train with us, get an MBA, take some leadership courses, take some emotional intelligence courses, take some presentations courses, take some executive writing courses, et cetera, and then you'll get your first cloud architect job. And you'll be cloud hired or solution architect hired or any kind of anything you want. And that's what it takes to actually move up and rise through the things. You've got to have that business acumen, and it's not covered in any certification. But good question. MN Cooks, how do you know if your skills are up to par before beginning to jobs? MN, could you, right now, here's what I could tell you. You should automatically know how to connect to 2 internet service providers. You should know how to have 2 direct connections with each internet service provider and be able to utilize both without getting out of order packets across different internet service providers. You should know how to lock the systems down in a moment's notice. So you should know how to design the network. You should know how to do IP addressing. You should know your BGP. You should know how to give a presentation in front of a captive audience and keep them there. You should know how to give a presentation before a 5,000 person audience. You should know how to calculate the expected value of an opportunity and calculate an ROI model. You should know how to design a system that has 200,000 employees and 40,000 subnets across 10 continents. These are barely the minimum intro level skills. So that's what you need to know. So with my students, they know all of this. In fact, my students will even build their own clouds in my program. And realistically speaking, for my students, I generally tell them when they're ready, because I don't want people going on job interviews when they're not ready. Because here's what happens. If you go on a job interview and you're not ready, what will ultimately happen is the company won't hire you. The company may not interview you ever again, and they may begin to tell you, and it's going to kill your confidence. So what I'd say is, if you were in my program, if you're new to tech and you've never worked in tech, it's going to be about 6 months before you're going to be ready. And if you've worked in tech before, I'm going to tell you in past experience, it's going to take you about 12 weeks before you're ready to interview for jobs. And I think from my team, they told me that you signed up for my program, which is wonderful. You're going to do great, Emin. But the key is it's going to take you some time. You can always ask us in the program in one of the classes. You'll know. Because on Tuesday's class, Emin, when we do some architecture work, if you know how to design everything from start to finish, you're ready. If most likely you're like most people that just join, you're going to be lost for a week or 2 or 3. And then after that, for the next 2 months, you'll be getting up to speed. And around 3 months from now, yeah, you're going to be solid and ready to apply. But whatever the case is, you have to know how to do these things, and we'll help you find it. And you're going to do great, Emin. You're going to do fantastic. You really will love your job. If you've got questions, please pop them in, etc., etc., etc. Lather, rinse, repeat. Thank you for your expert answer. You have the opportunity for a free GCP Professional Architect online certification from your employer. Is it okay to go for it? Lather, rinse, repeat. Here's what I'm going to tell you. The average cloud architect earns $600 a day. A good one can earn $1,200 or $1,800 a day if they've got really, really good skills. You could get 50,000 certifications and it will not raise your salary by $1. But if you're a certified solution architect professional, or Google Professional Cloud Architect, or Azure Expert, it's enough. But let's just say you have one of them. Now, what does raise your salary? Well, statistically speaking, training soft skills increases someone's salary by 33%, which is about $60,000 for the average cloud architect. Now, getting a Google certification will do nothing for your career. But training those soft skills can give you about $60,000 more every year for the rest of your life. So that's $1.8 million over 30 years. Now, training emotional intelligence by comparison can raise your salary on average of $29,600 per year. So now you're dealing with $90,000 of gain as opposed to this. So what is the problem with doing all these silly certifications? The problem is this. They make you look like an engineer and not an architect when you have too many certifications. The customer wants to know you can solve problems. They don't want to know that you got good at memorizing questions and answers. So they want one good professional expert cert, and then another one in a specialty, and that's it. So does it hurt getting to Google? No, but if it takes you 2 months to do it, and a good cloud architect earns $1,000 a day, that's $20,000 a month. And if you spend 2 months wasting your time on another certification, that cost you $40,000 that you could have been earning. So I would not spend time on another certification. I would train my leadership skills, my emotional intelligence skills, my executive presence, my communication. That can make a $2.7 million difference in your career over 30 years. So I like to focus on what I call high value targets. What's a high value target? I focus this, I make millions. I focus on this and I make another nothing for my rest of my career. So it's up for you. You've got to determine who you want to be. Do you want to be on the techie side? And you can be a technical architect and there's nothing wrong with it. There are architects that like to do just engineering stuff and they like to get techie and get 1 million certifications. And that makes them happy. Now, their salary is going to be about 160, 170, and it will never rise because they're not bringing in the money, but they're very valuable people. And if these people are happy, that's the greatest thing ever. I just care that you have a good cloud architect career, solution architect career, cloud engineer career. But the more certifications you get, the more of an engineer you are. The more business acumen, communication skills, leadership you get, the more of an enterprise architect you are, the bigger your salary is. Now you're positioned to get CIO, CTO, EVP positions as opposed to more engineering positions. So it's up to you. Remember, you can't fly a plane and hand off the drinks at the same time. You can't do surgery and then take your wife to dinner at the same time or your husband to dinner at the same time. It doesn't matter. But what can you do? You can focus your time and effort on what matters most and build the best career. So why do I spend so much time on leadership skills, communication skills, emotional intelligence skills, business acumen, etc.? Because that'll make a $200,000 difference in your career over time per year, as opposed to another certification, which is just that, another certification, name of a service and how to configure it. Now, the Google Professional Cloud Architect is a little better. There are a couple of case studies, but still, it's not going to make you an architect. What will are those skills that we're talking about? And lather, rinse, repeat. If you know the cloud, whether you call it a compute engine instance on Google, an Azure virtual machine, or an AWS EC2 instance, it's the same. Okay, look at this. Cloud Bigtable, DynamoDB, Microsoft Cosmos, same thing, no different. So really, what are we trying to do? We're trying to learn what is the thing, and then it works on every cloud. So I get in my car and I drive it. Now, I used to have a Honda Accord. I love that car, but the seats weren't good for my back. So then I bought a Volvo, which I drove for 14 years. I could have afforded anything I wanted, but I love the Volvo. I drove for 14 years. Guess what? The Volvo had a steering wheel. It had a key. And you know what? When that Volvo saw its better days and my 5 herniated discs were bad and I bought a Mercedes, guess what? I got in the car, I turned the key, used the steering wheel, changed the gear shift, the gas, the brake, and I drove somewhere. Why? Because I learned how to drive. And if you really learn the cloud, you know all the clouds. But if you say this is an elastic compute, well, and AWS calls a virtual machine elastic compute cloud, which is why it makes people hard. Now imagine if instead of learning how to drive and learning a steering wheel, you learned about an elastic rotational directional changer. And then Google had a cloud gyrational vector changer. And then Azure had an Azure directional rotational vector cloud-based optimization. Now, then you wouldn't even know that it's a steering wheel. And that's all you see in these certifications, lather, rinse, repeat, is some marketing person made up some silly name to call an old 30-year-old service, and poof, it's a new service. So focus on the cloud, and you can do all clouds, and you'll be great. And if your employer wants you to do the Google one, do the Google one and not the Amazon one. Who cares? It's the same thing. So if you've got some questions, please bling them. Hit the like, comment, subscribe button. Follow-up questions. You want to be an architect and you have the Solution Architect cert. Would I recommend the Solutions Architect Pro? Absolutely. But remember, if you want to be an architect, none of it's covered in these certifications. So make sure you learn architecture, which is system design. But yes, I would recommend the Solutions Architect Pro. And let me tell you this, in our program, we do teach the AWS Solutions Architect Pro. You know how much of that time that takes? It takes 20 hours of our 500 hours, which I'm letting you know, 20 hours of 500 hours. 20 of 500. That's how little little importance the certification is compared to the knowledge. There is no architecture training or knowledge in the Certified Solution Architect Professional. So you do need one. And we like you to get that certification. But just remember, the cert won't get you anything. But you should have it anyway, because, well, that's not true. A cert gets you an interview. Knowledge gets you hired. So we do like the professional certification for the interview. How important it is to you're building your social brand when getting into cloud computing? Wally, your brand is the most critical thing you can do about it. So what does your brand say about you? Does your brand say you're a certification junkie? Means not hired, unless you want to be a cloud engineer. Does your brand say I have a bunch of coding and Git and all those other things? That means you're a DevOps engineer, not an architect. Does your brand describe digital transformation and networking and data center and cloud concepts? Then you're a cloud architect. So yes, it's there. Every message you send has to be there. When one of my students sends a message, I just got 10 certifications, I call them and say, take that message down as fast as possible or nobody will hire you. And then when my students post something that's negative, I call them up sometimes and say, or have somebody from my team, stop that. It's going to keep you from getting hired. Every message you provide as an architect is critical. The messages should show digital transformation. They should show leadership. They should show executiveness. Yes, it matters. They should show your stellar knowledge and focus on one thing. They should show you as an expert on something, maybe an expert on a technology like BGP, an expert on cloud solutions for financial organizations, an expert on cloud security for healthcare organizations, but you should have a brand. Here's your best brand: energetic, enthusiastic, knowledgeable, communicates well, leadership, stellar business knowledge, professional, integrity, honesty, motivation. That's your brand. In fact, it's so critical that we actually have a video. Chris from my team can get it for you. It's about how to build the best brand as a cloud architect. It's about saying no when you can't deliver. It's about when someone says, is your solution right? If it's not right, saying, I'm sorry, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, this is not right for you. I would love to sell it to you, but it's not right. This is a better solution by my competitor. And you know what? When you do that, you may lose one deal, but you have an ally for life. And no matter what you do, they will always listen to you and work with you. So you've got to have a brand of honesty, integrity, relationship management, commitment, showing that you always do what you say you do. If you sell someone a product for $10, but it's causing their problems and affecting their business, you spend $10,000 to fix it. I mean, that's really what it takes for the cloud architect brand. That's why I spent a decade at Cisco, because if we promised something for a customer and it didn't work, the CEO would fly in himself along with a 100-people team just to make sure the customer was successful. So that's the brand. Leadership, business knowledge, digital transformation, executive presence, lots of knowledge. This is the brand. And yes, your brand is critical. Now, Facebook, not going to help you. Instagram, not going to help you. Twitter, probably not going to help you. But LinkedIn matters. And with our students in our Cloud Architect Career Development Program, we go over LinkedIn constantly. And I show my people how to do it. And one of my happy blue wrenches, Abigail, loves these kind of things. So she was giving a little presentation to the class the other day. And the point is she was great at it, but it's that important. I spend so much time with my students teaching them how to build a brand, because without the right brand, nobody's going to come to you. Build the right brand, Wally, and here's what's going to happen. Every day, people will literally offer you jobs. You'll be fighting them away. I had to remove Cloud Architect from my portfolio because I had 3 to 6 recruiters every single day offering me a job. I changed it to CEO. Now 3 to 6 recruiters per day when I so many people to hire. But guess what? It's easier. The point is every time I write a post, I don't need to have companies saying, Mike, I want to hire you. But if I wanted to be hired, yes, I would put that there. And guess what? If you have open to work on your LinkedIn profile, it makes you less hireable. Why? So let's talk about scarcity. If you're unemployed, the world thinks that there's something wrong with you, and it's sad. But if you have something that says wanting to work, it makes the world think that why aren't you working? What's wrong? By comparison, if you get rid of that thing and you just talk about something, the world's go, wow, this person, Wally, is really smart. Let me go to them. So I don't know if you've got that open to work, but generally speaking, we recommend removing that. And if you ever want to make a post to get hired, please listen to me on this one. The most dangerous post I've ever seen on social media is, please help me. I've been rejected. Please open your contact list and help me. Now, here's why this is so dangerous. Psychologically speaking, when a person says, I've been rejected, they've just signaled the world that there's something wrong with them, and that's why nobody else is wanting to hire them. And now every time that somebody gets a like on it and another person's network sees it, it basically tells the whole world they can't be hired. Now, Wally, if you want to use social media, I'll tell you what, Wilbert. I saw a Marine. He was a really young guy. He just graduated the Marine Corps. He was leaving as a civilian. He wrote this social media post on LinkedIn, and it says, hi, I'm just leaving the Marine Corps. I've been working in technology, and I would like to help you in your business succeed. I'm super hardworking. I know how to take direction. I will not quit until the world is successful. And if you take a chance on me, I will make sure that I am the best employee you've ever had. I saw this post. I called the Marine. I found him on LinkedIn. I sent him a connection request. I think I was connected to him. And I called him and invited him for a free boot camp I was doing that week. That week I had a boot camp. I had just started this company. People didn't know it that well. So I invited him for a boot camp. He comes to the boot camp. 2 days of the boot camp was interviewing. He called me within a week and said, Mike, I've had 2 job offers. Which do I take? Here was the thing. He had the perfect brand. His perfect message was, hi, I want to work. I've been doing this. I will help you, Mr. Customer. I will make you the best employee you've had. I am a Marine. I can take direction on what you want to hire. He was wildly successful. So that's how important social branding is. But it's got to be the right brand. The right brand gets you hired. The wrong brand does not. So keep that in mind. But great questions, Wally. Wonderful questions. Hope I answered your question. I'd be happy to answer other questions. And please feel free to come back and ask more questions. You're more than welcome. Kahim, I want you to have the best career as a cloud architect, solution architect. You've got so many good things coming for you. Enjoy it. Sean, can a cloud architect BR be rebuilt remotely? Sure, it can. I worked as an architect, and I've been a remote architect for about 2 decades now. And totally did it remotely. Now, Sean, what I will tell you is remotely means travel. So you'll be home a lot, but you will be traveling because there are certain things as an architect that you just have to go on site for. Presentations, some of them have to be live. You'll be going to executive briefing centers, etc. But you can do it remotely. So I live in Florida. For the most part, there's not a lot of business in Florida. Until a couple of months ago, we didn't even have a single Fortune 500 company headquartered in Florida. So my days were like this. I get on a plane. I'd go give a presentation in New York, DC, go to California, give my next presentation, go to England the next day, go to Dubai the day after that, go to Hong Kong, then maybe spend the weekend in Australia, then give something in Sydney or Brisbane or Melbourne, and then go back to Dubai, and then go to Hong Kong, and then maybe go to Jordan. That was kind of my life. So, but I lived from home in Florida. Now you can stay home a lot more because we've got much better video conferencing collaboration technologies, but they can all be built remotely, but you will be traveling if you're remote, because there's only one or two architects out there. They're hard to find. They're high value people, and you'll be traveling. But yes, you can do it remotely and build a great career. Great question, Sean. Chris, you can bring in the next one anytime you desire. And please, if you've got some questions, ask them. Malik, here's the key. You have to learn network and data center design. Whichever one you do first, doesn't matter. But understand, networking and data design is only half of it. So only half of it. So my approach is as follows. If you just know the network and the data center, you're still not a cloud architect. So my approach is teach the business acumen, teach the leadership, build the perfect career plan based upon the person, and everybody's plan is different. Have them follow the plan, have them present and learn how to present, have them learn how to write, learn how to design, learn how to communicate those designs, do an ROI model, etc., etc. Now, I generally start people with architecture, and then I explain the networking and things, because none of the content of architecture is covered in any of those certifications. None of it. So what I do, realistically, Malik, is I teach people networking and the cloud at once, and then I make my students just pass the silly exams as part of a completion project. Nothing about being a cloud architect is covered in those certifications. So when my students do this, I say, look, here's how to be an architect, and I train them to be an architect. And then I say, you got to go pass this silly exam. So we've written them a book, we've given them training materials, and we say do a practice exam. But here's the key. Those exams will not get you hired. In fact, their effectiveness about getting you hired is about 1%. They mean nothing unless you want to be a cloud engineer. And here's why. These certifications are the name of a service and how to configure it. But we don't configure. We design, we sell, we present, we lead. We write, we don't touch it. We are not a hands-on career. So there's none. So my approach is as follows. Teach you how to be a cloud architect. Teach you how to present like a cloud architect. Teach you how to write like a cloud architect. Teach you how to lead like a cloud architect and become a cloud architect. Teach you how to interview like a cloud architect and negotiate like a cloud architect. So my approach is teaching you to be an architect, and it has nothing to do with certifications. That's my approach. Now, I do get my people certified, but remember, the certification is like when you train a doctor and you send them to medical school, you teach them medicine. Now, you make them take this US MLE exam if they're in the US. Now, that qualifies them for nothing, but we all have to pass a board. So you train the doctor first, and then they pass the exam. You train the nurse first, and then they pass the exam. You train the financial analyst first, and then they pass the exam. You train the stockbroker first, and then they pass the Series 7 exam. In every other career, we train the professional and then the exam. Only in tech do people think they can just take an exam and get a career, but it doesn't work that way. You have to learn the career. So my approach is to teach the career. And then in the end, you just do those exams, and they're nothing. Like you could literally do all 10 AWS exams in a weekend if you knew the technology. And that's the key, Sash. I mean, here's what I did for fun. I'm not big on certifications. Why am I not big on certifications? Because they don't mean much. You have to have enough to get the interview, but nobody hires you on certifications. Now, without certifications, you're not getting an interview. So unless you have a lot of experience. So they're very critical for an interview. So here's how I prepared for it. I know the data center in the cloud. Do I have it over here? I'm trying to see if I actually have it. There was a good Cybex book. I bought it. It's in my bookcase somewhere. Is it this one? No, it's not. It's a medical book. So what I did is I wanted to test my theory. Me and my team wrote a book on passing the AWS Certified Solution Architect exam. And I said, if we wrote a good book and our book has merit, I should be able to take the Google exam and pass it. And of course, I said it to a friend of mine, and he was like, Mike, you're an idiot. I said, if our AWS book is good, and we describe virtualization properly, and containers properly, and firewalls properly, any one of us should be able to take an exam on another cloud with 2 days notice. I bet my buddy $100. I bought the Cybex book, read it on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday morning, I took the exam. Within 45 minutes, that Google exam was done. I had no more questions to answer. And of course, I passed it. It was nothing. Why? Because I was an architect first. The exam was meaningless. It was nothing. So the key is, if you don't know architecture, these exams are hard. But when you know architecture the way we train it, these exams are less challenging than brushing your teeth because they're so basic. But if you don't have the underlying fundamentals, and you really don't know what is a virtual machine, and you've never played with hypervisors, and you've never adjusted the memory or done things like single root IO or passed a GPU into it, it's all going to be foreign to you. And that's the difference between being an architect and a techie. The architect knows what are all the technologies, how these technologies work, how these technologies can impact the business, and can design a cohesive solution that can include new workflows, new technologies, new designs, new anything, new collaboration, new sales to make a business better. That's the whole job of the architect. Improve a business through our use of technology. That's the job. Not design, not configuring it, not being hands-on, not coding, not scripting. Improving our customers' businesses through the use of technology. Great question, Malik, and I hope I answered it for you. Chris, if you want to bring in the next one. Fun Thug Trolls. Can you tell me how the cloud architect demand opportunities present and future will be? So what I will tell you this, there are hundreds of thousands of open cloud architect jobs, and there will continue to be hundreds of thousands of open cloud architect jobs for the near future. Basically, about 10 to 15% of the workloads that could be on the cloud are on the cloud, and we're going to get to about 90% in the next 10 to 15 years. So for the next 10 to 15 years, you will have so much work on the cloud that you can't imagine. But if you train the way we do, my training would work if you're a network architect, cloud architect, or enterprise architect, because it's the same skill. It's just a different thing. So we train people differently. I train people for career agility and mobility. See, I know the secret. When you have no experience, the key to getting you hired is to make you more likable, with more executive abilities, with a better attitude, better communication skills, better executive presence, and the people forget that you have less experience, especially when you can design and present your technology in such a good way. They forget that you have lack of experience. And that's why, I have waiters getting hired by AWS. I'm not joking, waiters. But they're smart and they're expert system designers. I have lots of people getting hired by Amazon that have never worked in tech in their life because they're good. They're good. That's what matters. So the demand is huge. I can literally make a social media post, and if I put the word cloud architect on, I can get between 3 and 6. And if I make it a really engaging post, I can get to up to 10 job offers in a single day from one post. I can get 6 job offers from a single YouTube video. I'm not joking. That's how easy it is to get a cloud architect job if you're skilled. But if you've been focusing on Python or DevOps or SysOps or configuration and maintenance, it'll be impossible to get the job, because it's kind of like my cat, Cindy, who's beautiful, trying to apply for the job of a Navy SEAL battle dog. Wrong skill. So my cat is an expert hunter. If I had a mouse problem, I would send my cat and she would devour all the mice in a day and she'd have a party. But my cat's not going to wear body armor and jump out of an airplane with a parachute on like a Manelli's could, or a German Shepherd could, or some of the highly trained, skilled dogs could, because my cat's a cat, not a dog. So train for the job you want, become a competent, capable cloud architect, and you will have more job opportunities than you can possibly imagine. You will literally be, when you get skill like mine, you could literally turn down 20 jobs in a single week, easily. So that's how good the market is. Huge demand, incredible opportunities, and great salaries. Now, I will tell you this, there's a massive difference in cloud architect salaries. The people that focus exclusively on the tech, they get paid about $160, and there's the people that focus on the leadership, the digital transformation, and those people can get paid $300,000-400,000 plus per year easily. So you've got to figure out what kind of architect you want to be. I focus more on the leadership, communication, executive presence, and I do that with my students for the following reasons. It gets them hired. It gets them paid far more. It gets them hired when they have less experience. But most importantly, that person gets this job and their career is like a rocket ship, as opposed to somebody else that's just teeter-tottering without those leadership skills. So I want your career to be like this. So That's why I'm giving you the skills to know exactly what you should do. Hi, Praveen. Oh, Praveen is one of the best cloud architects and big data architects I know. Every time Praveen comes here, it is such an honor. I am so grateful for the Guru Gibbs. You have no idea. I know what Guruji means, Praveen, and it means so much to me. Cloud hired, Go Cloud Architects, and Praveen. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for all the amazing things you've done for my students. And just thank you for being you. I love seeing you every time I do. If anybody needs or wants to ever know one of the world's greatest big data architects, is Praveen. He's got 20 years experience in big data, and I go to him all the time. He's that great. Praveen, it's so good to see you. Chris, if you want to bring in the next question. And if you've got questions, please ask them. We love to answer questions around here. Snehal, if anyone doesn't have the knowledge or background in IT, so what is the path to get to cybersecurity? Very simple. Learn the technology and then learn security. Same thing. So what goes into security? Well, you got to have some networking knowledge because, half of the security is on the network. So you need to know TCP/IP, IPv4, IPv6, things like packet filters, operating systems. You need to know about firewalls, IDS, IPS systems. You need to know about VPN concentrators. You need to know about security policy. You need to understand about social engineering. You need to understand how to lock down systems, how to disable unnecessary services, what kind of anti-malware protection in there. You need to have good knowledge of packet filtering. You need to understand a good knowledge of authentication, authorization, and accounting systems, etc. And what else? You should understand layer 2 packet filtering, things like MAC address and MAC address access list and 802.1x authentication. You should understand the different kinds of firewalls, regular firewalls, next generation firewalls. You should understand VLANs, and because you can use switching to segregate your users. You should also understand routing security, etc., etc. You should get lots of experience with all the security protocols, lots on security policy. You've got to have a good background on educating users, how to trash social engineering, and you've got to how to learn how to respond to incidents. You might need to learn about how to be able to look at log files, etc. In many cases with security, you should get used to you're doing some penetration testing or white hat hacking where you're breaking into systems to tell companies. So you should have experience with Kali Linux and all the Kali Linux tools as well. And then when it's your first job, remember, you're competing against people that have more experience, and you can't. So when you're competing against people that have more experience, you have to find a way to win. So imagine this. You're here and somebody's here. Now, the person that you're competing against has 10 years of experience. So let me give you a secret on the interview. 50% of the interview is your attitude, emotional intelligence, likability factors. And the other 50% is related to your competency. So let's assume you're competing against someone with 10 years security experience. And they're a 45 out of 50 on security. But they're techie. So you ask them a question and they string together a bunch of buzzwords and it drives you nuts. And then you ask them another question and they give you 42 acronyms. We put the ACL right behind the firewall, and then the IDS, IPS did this, which of course read through this log file, which of course sent an SNMP trap, which we did this. You say something like that, they're like, okay, thank you. So the point is that's what you're going to typically hear from your 10-year security engineers. And if you go in there and you can be 40 out of 50 technical competent, but be likable, and you can say things like, I am here and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help you succeed. I'm hardworking, I'm energetic, I'm enthusiastic, I'm highly motivated. I know what I know and I know what I don't know. Wow, this is the stuff that gets you hired. Now you combine that with those skills that I told you, and wow, you've got a good cybersecurity career. And whether it's cybersecurity in the cloud, which we could help you in, or just cybersecurity in general, again, really great careers. So do that. Now, you probably need a security certification to get your first job. If you don't have any background, it kind of keeps you out of the two that I like, which is the CISSP and the CCSP. So you might have to do something different. You could do a CCNP security, which is not my favorite. I don't like to recommend the CompTIA certifications. They're not bad certifications, but they're not really good at getting you hired. So, we have to be a little creative on the security certifications we get. And if we had to do a Security Plus as a temporary thing until we get the good certifications, we could do it. And you could do that on your own pretty easily by just buying the books, not a Udemy course, the books, original source. You should be in pretty good shape. But that's what I would do. I would focus on the competency. But again, make sure you learn routers too, because make sure you learn operating systems, because you're going to have to know how to disable unnecessary services, for example. Like if you do a NetStat, or you start looking at the ports that are open on a server, it's a lot. And you might only want the server to be listening and open on, say, port 22 or port 443. So you got to get rid of half of the stuff that's there on the servers, because that can be used as a vector for hacking. So learn those devices, network devices, firewalls, IDS, IPS systems, anti-malware kind of things, how to disable things, how to write a security policy, and you'll have a great career. And let me tell you, cybersecurity is great. I've spent many years in it, and I absolutely love it. And that's not going anywhere, especially as we go to the cloud. See, people have it wrong. In the data center, it's easy to secure. Why? We can lock all of our doors, and we only have places that go out to the internet. Now you're on the cloud. Now think about this on the cloud. You hack into I'm going to put together a website called My Cat Cindy. And if you hack My Cat Cindy's website, what do you get access to? Photos of My Cat Cindy. Now, I'm sure My Cat Cindy domain name is taken, and you don't have to go register. If anything, I'll come up with a different name. But the point is there's that. So, make sure that you've got it. Now, if you put your stuff on the cloud and you hack into Azure, whoa, you got all Azure's customers. And that's why Azure had a 3.2 terabit per second, DDoS attack, which they survived. They mitigated it. Azure did incredible on the last two massive DDoS attacks, hugely incredible. I mean, seriously there. But, kind of focus on this, focus on security, and you'll be good. And Chris, you want to bring in the next one? Cryptofan, hi Mike, everything makes perfect sense to me now. You understand where you went wrong during your interview. You look forward to learning from our program and learning from your mistakes. We will help you get to your goals, and you will get cloud hired. Sean, thank you for the answer to your question. You're happy you discovered our channel. Today, I applied for an architect job and got it. Our videos were the same help. Thank you. Sean, I'm so happy. Sean, you have no idea. Now, I get these messages every single day from people on YouTube and my students, but every reason I do this is for messages like that. Sean, you made my day. I'm so happy, and now I'm going to be tearing again because I just love watching you guys get hired. But Sean, congratulations. I am so happy. I am so thankful. That is why we make these videos. That's why we hold these question and answer sessions. I am so happy for you, Sean. Sean, congratulations. Every one of you guys out there, let's congratulate Sean. Please type cloud hired to celebrate Sean. Let's give everybody a round of applause for Sean. Sean, I love it. You came, you watched videos, you studied, you prepared, and you got cloud hired. That's why we do what we do, Sean. I am so thankful. I am so happy, and I am excited for you. Every one of all you, please type hashtag cloud hired and type hashtag congratulations, Sean. Both of it. I am just so excited for Sean Polanis. And Sean, you've got what sounds like a Greek name, even though you're probably not Greek. So if you have a Greek name, Nasa Zisti, in case you know what that means, which is kind of like a congratulations in Greek. Not exactly something you would use here, but close enough. So Ima Polihavrismanos, if you understand that. But no matter what, congratulations, cloud hired. I'm so excited for you. As are my students, Alex Richardson and Ruth. Fantastic. Ruth is amazing. And Roberto, thank you so much. Congratulations. I am so thankful, so excited. The best news since the last person told me they got hired this morning. And I am so thankful. I am so. Oh, Polanis in French means Polish person. Sean, that's fantastic. I'm Greek, so anything that ends in IS or OUS, I just automatically think is Greek. Mr. Gee, yes, congratulations, Sean. Perez the Dev, I am so happy to see you here. Perez the Dev, fantastic. ET Cloud hired. Daniel, congrats, cloud hired. Yes, Teshay, thank you. Congratulations, Sean. ET again, congratulations, Sean. Yes, cloud hired, everybody, please. Ronnie, cloud hired. And VNHG, cloud hired, exactly. See, this is why we do all of this. That's the whole point. I'm just so excited. Super happy. Takur, sometimes I sound too good to be true. This is what I love to do. I don't need to work, Takur Saeed. I retired when I was 34. And it was this. Now, Takur Saeed, here's the thing. I used to practice medicine. And I loved it, but I liked tech more. And I went through what everybody did. I went through everybody's mistakes of getting certified, and not hired. I spent $20,000 in like a month back 20-some years ago. And that was like $50,000. And you know what? I've been training people since then, so nobody has to do that. But, you know, what we do gets people hired. It just does. Because I've asked thousands of hiring managers and recruiters over the last 20 years. I mean, and I ask recruiters every day, tell me what you want. So I am just so thankful. So to me, everything is about getting people hired. That's why we do it. That's why Chris does his thing. KM Kahil, well, what I will say is I would not even like to be considered to be in the same sentence as an A-Cloud Guru or any of those other providers. I will tell you that those three providers that are the most known are the reason I started this company. They do an incredibly good job of teaching you the name of a service and how to configure it. So here's why I started this company, KM. It was from them and two other Australians that were making courses. And what happened was I bought a lot of these courses for someone. And here's what I did. I was setting up a blockchain data center in Kansas. And we had a really cool blockchain. We had about 500 GPUs that were mining Ethereum and Zcash. And we had about 1,500 Antminer S9s that were mining crypto Bitcoin. And we had a whole bunch of Antminer D3s that were mining Dash. And we had a whole bunch of Litecoin miners in there. And what happened is I brought a couple of my student interns, my private coaching clients, to go build this data center. And they built this data center in days. And the owner of the data center came back and he says to me, and he says, Mike, your interns are machines. He says, your 22-year-old that came in here outdid 50 people that work here all in one day. He said, could you train my child to be like yours when he graduates college? And I said, sure. I said, when's he get done school? And he said, a year. I said, okay, now. So what I did, I bought him the A-Cloud Guru and those two other Australians courses. And the kid called me back after 3 days and he said, Mike, I've set up an S3 bucket and created an EC2 instance. What is it? And I said, what do you mean, what is it? He says, what are they? And I said, seriously, nobody would actually make a training course that not tell you what object storage in a virtual machine is. And he says, see, look, I watched the courses. I was so horrified when I saw what these providers were doing. I mean, I was so disgusted. I felt like they were stealing money from people, giving them a false sense of hope that would never be hired in their life. So what did I do? I interviewed 1,000 people that had that were certified from those providers. I couldn't hire a single one of them. So what did I then do? First thing I did is I decided to basically produce all free certifications and did. And then I made a video on how to get hired. Literally speaking, within an hour of that video, 50 people requested I do something about it. I offered the program and I'm getting people hired every day. Those programs will teach you the name of a service and how to configure it, but you won't get hired. And that's the problem. They teach you the name of a service and how to configure it. What does an architect do? They ask a CEO about their business problems. They analyze a financial statement. They ask what kind of their competitors are doing. None of that's covered in there. They don't teach business and how you can translate a business problem and technology solution. They don't describe how to design an architecture. They don't even tell you what the technology is in the network and the data center that you're moving to the cloud. How can you do the job if you don't even know what it is? They don't cover any of that. They don't cover system design. They don't cover ROI modeling. They don't cover presentations. They don't cover the leadership. They don't cover the emotional intelligence. They don't cover the job. In fact, they are the whole reason that I made my company, because I was tired of seeing people spend their hard-earned money and work hard and study and learn completely irrelevant skills. So that's why I did mine. We get you hired. And I take all of their people and I get them hired. They get to me, they're like, oh my God, I learned more in the first 1 hour of your class than I did in the past 6 months. Why? Because we're actually architects. We're not people that put architect titles on our resume that never worked as an architect. We are real architects. We've been architects for decades, and I have the team to do it. So I don't even want to be in the same sentences as any of those 3 Australian course providers, because we work hard, we're experts, and we get our people hired. So that's why I can describe it as that. There is a place for getting certified in this world, and I have no issue with certifications. But you know what, with certifications, Andrew Brown's got free certification material, and it's 10 times better than any of that anyway, and it's free. So free code camp. So we do free certification. Andrew Brown does free certification. His free certification materials are great and 10 times better than any of those providers that we're talking about, which I won't mention by name. So that's my perspective, and we're nothing like them in any way. Chris, if you want to bring in the next one. Mr. Businessman, what happens when an architecture won't? I don't know what that means. You know that every architecture, okay, so here's the key. Mr. Businessman, I've never had an architecture that didn't work in 25 years. Why? I know myself. I know my strengths, and I know my weaknesses. And what do I do when I design an architecture? I can tell you right now. Praveen, the big data architect that was here a few minutes ago, if there's big data, I'm not an idiot. I'm calling Praveen. And guess what? I've got a friend, Jim, that knows more about security than any other person in the world. And if I've got a cloud security architecture, I'm calling Jim. And you know what? I know I have a very strong networking background, but I can't focus on the network and focus on the end-to-end design because I've got to focus on the big picture. So guess what? I'm going to bring in one of my networking experts from Cisco to help me with the network. I'm going to do this for everything. I've got a great IAM architect that I know that I'm going to bring in for the identity and access management part of it. By doing that, then guess what happens, Mr. Businessman? We're going to do a proof of concept test in most cases. The customer's going to want it. So I'm going to lead a team of maybe 50 cloud engineers that's going to build out the proof of concept. And we're going to know it's going to work before we do it. And that's why organizations use EVE-NG servers, which have cloud and networking and firewalls, and they test everything before they do it. So that's going to be there. Now, also, Mr. Businessman, whenever I do these things, I also get some cloud engineers and some DevOps engineers as part of the design. Why? Because we architects are big picture people, so we got to get some people in there. Maybe we bring the maintenance people or the sysops people in, and they give us some advice on how to maintain the stuff along the way. Maybe we bring in some DevOps engineers, and they can help build out the implementation plan with the program managers we have. So I've never had an architecture design that didn't work. Now, I have lots of technology that didn't work over the course of 25 years. Now, usually speaking, I can tell you when it happens. I've done massive amounts of troubleshooting and things that didn't work. It's usually when the 10x AWS certified equivalent, the person that knows Linux, Windows, a little bit of networking, a little bit of security does the design. Because what happens is they don't know enough about any one thing to do the design. They know a little bit about everything, but they won't do what I'll do. I know what my strength is. I know where I'm good, and I will bring in the world's best experts. That's what a good architect does. And if you're a good architect and you bring in the world's best experts every time, that all your designs are going to work. Or you can try and pretend you know how to do everything yourself. And guess what? You can't. I promise you. It takes 17 years to start practice as a cardiologist on average. And there's 10 different kinds of cardiologists that work on something in the heart that's the size of a human fist. Why? Because that's what it takes to get deep knowledge. I didn't start learning until after my CCIE. I read 75,000 pages of networking to get there, spent $40,000 on routers and switches to be able to do the exam. Guess what? I didn't start learning until after that. That's when the work started. So you're going to be great, Mr. Businessman. I know you. I know where you're getting your training. And you're going to be rock solid by the time you're done. So you'll be in good shape. Don't worry about it. Just do everything as a team. Know what you know what you don't know, and get help, and everything you will do will be successful. Robbie, hi, Robbie. Hi, Mike. Could you please talk about the solution architect role and how it is different? Sure, Robbie. So 2 things. The solution architect role is dead. I'm going to say this again. The solution architect role is dead. And here's what a solution architect is. Anything. So if you go to the carpet store, the solution architect could be picking out your carpet. If you go to NVIDIA, a solution architect focuses on machine learning. If you go to AWS, a solution architect focuses only AWS, which is why I said it's dead. If you go to Azure, a solution architect only focuses on Azure. If you go to Cisco, a solution architect focuses on Cisco. If you go to Juniper, a solution architect focuses on Juniper. So a solution architect is a meaningless term. It's a dumping ground that says, I only know one vendor's stuff. That's it. So nobody in their right mind really should have ever been using a single cloud. Now, we've advised people for years never use a single cloud because it's a single point of failure. Good companies like Nutanix and IBM and some of the major consulting firms have always said to your customers, don't use a single cloud. Single cloud is a single point of failure. You get a network failure, which we've seen, a control plane failure, a hacking event, and the whole cloud goes down. So there's that. So a cloud architect like me knows how to design systems on AWS, Cisco, Dell, Palo Alto, Google's, Oracle's cloud, all at the same time because we know the cloud. A solution architect only knows, I know AWS, I know Azure. Where our cloud architect is Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer. See this business problem you have? I'm going to go solve it. I'm going to build you a high availability, high performance solution. Oh, wait, Mr. Customer, you have 5,000 AMD EPYC servers with 128 cores and 6 terabytes of DRAM. And they're 6 months old. Now you want to go to the cloud. Guess what? We're going to build you an OpenStack cloud on premise. We're going to connect that, and that OpenStack cloud is going to give you scaling and reduction. We're going to connect that to the Google Cloud because Google Cloud does the best machine learning in the world, and we're going to back up your data center on the AWS cloud. That's a multi-cloud architecture. That's what your customers want. Or 50% on Azure, 50% on AWS. That's what your customers want. That's what a cloud architect does. And a cloud architect, like any of my students, can go to AWS and get hired, and they do it all the time and work as a solution architect. But a solution architect can't work as a cloud architect. So I try to discourage people to learn solution architect roles because here's why. If you become a solution architect, you're going to need special training to work on another cloud because a solution architect is really focused on the idiosyncrasies of a single vendor. AWS and their names, Elastic Compute Cloud, DynamoDB, CloudFront, Cloud Hub, AWS Transit Gateway, and all you're going to think of is just the AWS terms. Now, if you're a cloud architect, okay, I'm going to use a NoSQL database, and I want it to run on my OpenStack cloud, my Azure cloud, and my AWS cloud. Oh, wait, can't use DynamoDB. That doesn't work multi-cloud. I can use MongoDB or Apache Cassandra. Now, which one am I going to use? Okay, let me go call Praveen and say, my read traffic is this, and my write traffic is this. And then the big data architect would say, use MongoDB or Apache Cassandra based upon your traffic. So that's what I need to know. And then guess what? Streaming data. AWS and solution architect world use Kinesis, but guess what? You can't use Kinesis on Google or Azure or OpenStack, but you can use Apache Kafka. So as a cloud architect, you're going to know how to work anywhere, anytime. As a cloud architect, you'll earn more money. As a cloud architect, you're going to have much more career progression. As a cloud architect, you can do anything and work as a solution architect. But if you only know one cloud and you weren't taught the cloud and you learned a cloud, which is very different, then you're only going to have one option. And you're going to have less salary, less career options. And so I recommend nobody become a solution architect and everybody can become a cloud architect. And if you just happen to want to work for AWS or Azure or Google, great. You can work as a solution architect, but you'll have cloud architect skills. So that's the big difference is do you know everything or you just know a little section of it? That's the difference between a cloud architect and a solution architect. If I'm hiring somebody and all they know is AWS, they serve no purpose to me because I'll never use just AWS. If I hire someone and they're an expert on AWS, but also are familiar with virtualization, containers, firewalls, IDS, IPS systems, packet filtering, etc., and they know how to do that on any cloud or data center, that's who I hire. Because Ravi, you got to look at this. What does a cloud architect or solution architect do? They take the stuff, servers, containers, the stuff, the data in the network in the data center, and they migrate it to the cloud. So solution architect training only includes the name of a service and how to configure it, which doesn't prepare you to take that stuff from the network and the data center in the cloud. So my advice is to kind of forget about the solution architect role because no customers want it, and you become a cloud architect, and you can always work as a solution architect. It's the better of the two. Good questions though, Robbie. Koala, greetings, sir. You're writing from Cameroon. You're an accountant with little or no knowledge in the cloud. Where do you start? Koala, well, I'll tell you this. I actually have a group that I help co-lead called Cloud Heroes Africa, and we're doing some free work in Cameroon right now. You can find out more about that. I am one of the leaders along with my friend Samoa Shang. If you're in Cameroon, I also have a really good friend. His name is Banjika, and he runs the We're Fun group. And the reality is, Kuala, I work with both of those groups, and a lot of their graduates come to me and actually take my program. So I'd love to help you. We actually have 50 people volunteering in Cameroon right now. So I will also tell you this, it doesn't matter your starting point. So Chris from my team will post a video. I had a really, really nice, I think he's now 22 years old. I have a really great Cameroonian. I have a lot of Cameroonian students, about 75 of them. But this guy, I really love this guy. His name is Romanik Ivan Tamba. And what did I love about him? He joined my program. He's in college. He's been studying school. He's been serving food at a restaurant. He's been commuting 3 hours a day to school every day while he went to school full time, while he was living in a family's home that took him in, while he was attending my program, which is 500 hours. The reason I love Ivan is he is every bit of a success in every way. Ivan came to my class, and in the first class, I remember he was wearing this red sweatshirt, and he had a smile, and I'm here, Mike, I'm here. This is my first class. I'm so excited. When I saw that look in his face, I said, Ivan's going to win. I said, I know he's never worked in tech, but it's not, and then I tell people it takes 8 months, but not Ivan. He's going to be done in 12 weeks. I saw it, I smiled, and I said to my wife, I said, oh my God, you should see this kid. You should see the look on his face. I've got another kid, Ryan, who's just as smart. But when I saw the look on his face, I was blown away. I was super excited. So I see the look on his face, and I know he's going somewhere. He attends my class. He participates some more. I'm asking questions, doing practice interviews, and he's there. Now, while he's there, he's learned the cloud. He applies for Amazon. Amazon hires him. And not only does Amazon hire him, he says to Amazon, he's like, I'm not graduating college until May. Any chance I can finish college before I start? And they said, Ivan, we love you so much. Yes, we'll wait for you to graduate in May to begin at AWS as a solution architect. So the point is we can all do it. I went from practicing medicine to architecture. Ivan did it. The same week Ivan did it, I had another Cameroonian, Coyote, that got hired the same week. It happens every single day. So the point is what do you do? Learn the network and the data center. You know the network and the data center, you know the cloud. Learn the leadership skills, the communication skills, the emotional intelligence skills, the business acumen skills, etc. You can start out, you could do everything with us if you'd like. We'd love to work with you. You can start out with my friend Samoa Shang and get a little bit. You can take Samoa Shang's training along with our completely free AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate course. You can do our completely free CCNA class, which I know most of Samoa's and Banjika's people are attending this week because we're running a boot camp, which would normally cost about $5,000, but we're doing it free to help those all over the world get their first tech jobs. So we would definitely love to have you in there. You can download a complete and total copy of our Certified Solutions Architect Associate and Professional book, where we also talk about some context. Take our free interview training, attend our Thursday, how to get your first cloud architect job webinar, take as many of our videos as you can, and do all of that. And then if you want to train with us, we'd love to train you, but if not, and you take advantage of all our free, we're still excited to be with you, and we'll do anything we can to help you qualify. So congratulations, this is a wonderful career. Cloud Heroes Africa is something that we're doing in combination with Samoa Shang, Lillian Tata, and if you look up Cloud Heroes Africa on LinkedIn, you'll see us, and we're part of it. We're one of the sponsors, and I've got 50 of my students actually volunteering in sub-Saharan Africa right now to help get people certified and be better prepared to build a career in cloud computing, and we'd love to work with you as well. Daniel Mitchell, you've noticed most top income jobs don't usually enlist cloud architect, but I do see it as a frequently open position. Is it that most people aren't aware? Most people have no idea what a cloud architect is, Daniel. And it's the craziest thing. And the only people that actually know anything about architects are actually architects. And the reality is most of us architects are network architects and enterprise architects first. And I've got friends that are distinguished architects that have no cloud training whatsoever, but they were network architects hired by the big cloud providers. So you typically don't see it listed there because they're minor jobs. And the reality is the cloud architect job is so special And the reason you don't see it is as follows. It is an executive position. So if you were to go to Cisco, an enterprise architecture director, or senior director, or a VP level position, and they typically get counted as an executive. So you don't typically see them listed as technology people because they are such an executive position. And that's where, Daniel, people go wrong. They see these solution architect jobs at like 160, and they don't see the $300,000 plus enterprise architect job. Why? Because they're director or VP level positions. So the real architect jobs are executive jobs. That's why I teach all these executive skills. And that's why. So that's why my architects in our program get different kinds of jobs. That's why they can always get the easy solution architect job, but I get people getting $300,000 jobs all the time. Why? They're focused on executive skills. I teach the executive skills, the problem solving. And that's why you're not going to see it in a lot of places, because most people either view engineering or executive. And this is that very final role. We basically have two extremes on the architects. On the bottom extreme, we have what's called the technical architect, and they are an engineer that we didn't know what to do with, so we give them $10,000 extra. We call them a technical architect. Deeply, deeply technical person. And then there are the executive architects like me. We walk in, we meet with the CEO. We ask them about their business challenges, what their competitors are doing, what they're trying to achieve. Then we go back and we read the financial statements. We look at what the industry analysts are saying. We go through research on what the competitors are doing. And we craft a new architecture, a business architecture, like a management consultant. And this is the desired state. The employees will work this way. The customer journey will be this. This will be the journey for this. Then what we do, we design that. That's called a business architecture. And then we think about what's the tech that's going to fill it out. I need 100,000 virtual machines. I need BGP. I need 2 petabytes of storage. I need object storage because of the metadata. I need this kind of a database. And then, Daniel, what do? We say, okay, so first meet with the client, then design the innovation, then figure out the technology. Then, Daniel, we go to the store and say, oh, I'm going to use Amazon. What does Amazon call that virtual machine? An EC2 instance. So I'm going to put 50% of my things on Amazon's EC2 instances, and 50% are going to go what? On Google Cloud? Oh, wait, they call it compute engine. So poof. Then I've got 10 web servers. I need a load balancer, right? Okay, so does it matter if it's called an elastic load balancer or a cloud load balancer? It doesn't. It's the same tech. Wait, I got to attach the block storage. Okay, I'll attach the block storage. Done. Same on both clouds. Now, wait, I need a relational database, but I need one with a good enterprise function set. Okay, I'm going to use an Oracle database. And I'm going to use the same Oracle database on Google and Azure. But no, I'm not going to use any managed service. I'm going to stick it on my own VMs. And that way it's the same on both. Done. I need a high security architect. Guess what? I need a high security. I'm going to get 2 Palo Alto firewalls front-ended by a load balancer. I'm going to do that on Azure and Google, both from the marketplace. So that's the thing. And that's why you don't see it, because these are such extreme executive positions. They get looped under executive most of the time. That's the reason, Daniel. And it's an excellent question. And Chris, if we've got others, love to answer them. For a generic cloud architect, you mentioned a Linux certification and a CCNA. What Linux certification? Robbie, Red Hat's got one. Red Hat certified admin. I mean, I still prefer the CCNP and the certified solution architect professional, but the case could be made that if you were like a Red Hat certified engineer and a CCNA, and you had an AWS certified solution architect professional, that's a good balance too. Why? Because it gives you, the main operating systems. There's almost no such thing as a Windows server anymore. And I love Microsoft. They are a great business company. But Windows, realistically speaking, is Active Directory. It's Microsoft Exchange, etc. Except for small businesses. Big businesses, everything's on Linux. Even the cloud's built on Linux. So Linux, CCNA, certified solution architect. Again, good certification, but not going to get you hired as an architect because you got to get those business skills, etc. But it's a great technology for portfolio. That's exactly the issue. That's what the problem with that, what we found from those and all the employees that used to work for a Cloud Guru or a Linux Academy that have started their own things. Nobody knows how to do anything other than the name of a service and how to configure it. And that's why they fail on interviews. And that's what I did. I literally asked 1,000 people to describe block storage and object storage, the differences. Nobody knew. Tell me when to use a virtual machine in a container. Nobody knew. I said, how do I have 2 links to AWS and not get out of packets? Nobody knew. I said, tell me about, how Cloud Hub and a route reflector are similar. And people said, what's a route reflector? And it was kind of to that point where it was just clear. Tell me how to design an IP addressing plan for this. Nobody knew. So there was basically nothing there other than junior implementation engineer skills. Now, KHAM, if the goal was to be an admin person, meaning just configure things, these courses would be fine. But that's not a cloud engineer either. That's an admin person, and that's a totally different skill set. That's why we created our program. Chris, if you want to bring in the next one. I've got about 15 to 20 minutes or so. I wish I had more, but I will come back to you later in the week. So please ask whatever questions you have. We would love to help you in as many ways as we can. I would love to find another person that got cloud hired on today's call. Hi, Sandy. Oh my God, congratulations. You're a new father now? I am so excited for you. So Sammy's one of my great students. I haven't seen him about a week. I was wondering where he goes. So congratulations on the new baby. Congratulations again. So Sandy, here's the thing. Take a week or two, celebrate your new baby. You can have as much time as you want in our program to get hired. We let you stay in it for a year. Take 2 weeks and really celebrate the magical miracle of life. I'm so excited for you. This is wonderful. So spend some 2 weeks. Really, spend some time with your wife. Take extra good care of her. Make your wife happy. Make your baby happy. And cherish the time with the child because it's a special time. 2 weeks from now, do the best you can. Attend the classes. Watch the replays. Just keep at it. And if we have, 6 or 8 weeks of 50% of your capability, Sandy, that's okay. Do that for the next 2 months. Get your sleep. Make sure the baby's on a solid footing. And after that, you run as fast as possible. If you have to be in our program for another 2 months because you had a baby, all Chris, me, or Leo will say is, congratulations, Sandy. We don't care. We'll extend everything for you for 2 months. So go out there, take care of your family. And when you come back and you're ready and fired up, we'll just extend everything you have. We don't care. All I care about you getting is hired in the end, Sandy. That's the only thing that matters to me. So congratulations. Take care of your family. And, learn how to, when you come back, for me, what do? I just remove other stuff from my life. So what does my life look like? Honestly, Sandy, I can tell you right now. I wake up and I do the physical therapy necessary so I can walk, which means 3 hours a day and 130-degree room. It is what it takes based upon what happened. So I do my 3 hours of PT. Then I'm in here. I'm in my office. I'm writing papers. I'm on YouTube. Good stuff. Then I do an hour of yoga. And then I basically sit at my desk as long as I can or work from whatever location I can until the work's done for the day. And at the end of the day, I'm thankful for all the blessings I received. I think about how lucky I am that I have a wonderful wife and a beautiful cat, and they're around, and I get to be told by people that got cloud hired every day, and I do that. And you know what, Sandy? I'm going to take the advice I'm giving you. My chief operating officer told me I'm going on vacation next week. He literally told me I'm going on vacation next week. I'm not joking. You can ask Chris. He told me I'm going on vacation. And sometimes you just got to do that. So congratulations. We're super excited for you. We'll get cloud hired. But most importantly, congratulations. Cloud Dad. Love that. Everybody, hashtag Cloud Dad for Sandy, please. Danica, good to see you. Leo, congratulations. Thank you, Leo. This is just a great news call today. I should have these every day, all day. I can't even imagine how exciting it would be. Marvelous Olawana, greetings to you. You're writing from Nigeria. Welcome in Nigeria. We have 150 Nigerian students. Do we have a team available in Nigeria? We have a tremendous number of students in Lagos and other wonderful places in Nigeria, Gabon, Benin, Cameroon, Uganda, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, Morocco, South Africa, Tanzania, Congo, and many other customers. And we've got a lot of people over there in Lagos and a tremendous number of Nigerian students. We absolutely do. We could work with you in Nigeria because we do have a lot of work in that, or you could just follow us online and we'd still love to work with you. So Marvelous Awana, you're from a great place, a huge technology capital of Africa that's becoming more and more technology enabled by the day. We see so much work going on in Africa in the future. We see Amazon and other providers going in there, investing heavily. You figure Nigeria is the Silicon Valley of Africa. We see a lot of innovation there. We see a lot going on in Cameroon, and we see a tremendous amount coming in South Africa. I'm starting to see, I have a lot of students in and from Ghana as well. So, we're starting to see a lot out of Sub-Saharan Africa, as well as East Africa, and of course, South Africa. So there's a lot coming and marvelous. Being in Africa, I'm thinking a lot of moves are going to go to Africa and India in the coming futures, because here's why. Many of these jobs can be done anywhere in the world, and because they can be done anywhere in the world, especially engineering jobs, where we're going to go to look for places where it's called arbitrage. Where can I hire an employee for less money that can do an equally good job? And I got to tell you, in Africa right now, there is a tremendous amount of education going on in cloud computing and investment. So we are very focused on Africa amongst other regions of the world, because we see that as a future place that's going to have big, big, big cloud computing technology. And we're working hard, both as volunteers, doing the best we can, and with our paid students that we have that are getting our elite coaching. And we're excited about all of it. So super great to see you. Not sure what part of Nigeria you're from, but you should be in great shape. In most parts of Nigeria, people speak extremely good British English. And that makes it a lot easier, because a lot of Nigerians are also highly educated with excellent language skills. So language skills, executive communication, really, really critical. So we do have a tremendous number of students there, and they're doing exceptionally well. If you've got other questions, I'd love to answer them. Marvelous. Mr. Businessman, why aren't I a fan of CCNP security? Here's the reason. Most people don't think of the Cisco certified network professional when they think of a security architect. That's the reason. So what I do is as follows, Mr. Businessman. Here's how I look at security and certifications in general. Certifications for me are nothing, but certifications will get you an interview. They will never get you hired, but they'll get you an interview. So what do? I look at CIO Magazine, and I look at what hiring managers, and I look what my executive recruiters are telling me, and I say, the CompTIA certifications make a difference to you? And they say, only with regards to help desk. And Mike, you train people not to be help desk. And I said, you're right, I do. So the CompTIA certifications don't really hold enough weight in the industry for me to use them. When I ask hiring managers and executive recruiters and about the CCNP security, they say, no, thank you, Mike. So that's why I'm not a fan of it. So when I look in CIO Magazine, every year they list the most valuable certifications that they're in demand. It's not listed there. So I have a perspective about certifications. I don't think any of them, except for the Cisco Certified Internet Expert, really mean a lot of anything, but they get you an interview, and they can make up for gaps in your experience, which looks really, really, really good. I see really, really good. I think the CCNP security is good, but what do I care about? I care about what the hiring managers want. Hiring managers want the CISSP. They want the CCSP. They want the CISM. They want that. They tell you they want it. So that's what I'm a fan of. So I'm a fan, Mr. Businessman, of whatever gets you hired and paid more. And unfortunately, the CCNP security is not that. Now, if you can't justify taking the CISSP or the CCSP or the CISM, then do the CCNP security, because it's still far better than any A+, Net+, Security+. But, the key is, I like to go for the things that the hiring managers say, I want this. The things that the recruiters say, I want this. The things that that are in CIO Magazine. Why? Because the CIOs read it. And what do the CIOs do? They hire the VP of IT, the director of IT, and the hiring manager. So the CIOs basically write our paycheck. So that's what I go to. I don't have any opinion. I basically look at the research and the science, and I will tune. If next year everybody tells me the Google Professional Cloud Architect is the most important one, you know what my students will be doing? If the CEOs that I speak to, the hiring managers that I speak to, the recruiters that I speak to, tell me I want Google, then my students will be doing Google. So what do I do with my students? I monitor market conditions. The same way I monitor supply and demand curves, the same way a financial analyst says, this is the stock we invest in, this is the one we sell. Shift to gold, shift to get Bitcoin, shift to bonds. Wait, The Fed's going to raise interest rates. That's going to change bonds. So let's go to this, et cetera, or go from stocks to bonds. That's why we do it. We honestly are consultants. We are architects of our students' careers. And what is the most important job of the architect? To get the customer's requirements. So that's why we're not a big fan, because when we ask customer requirements, what do you want to hire? They don't list it as a big one. So that's why it's not big on ours. And Chris, if you want to get to the next question. Omar, in order to enroll in our course, all you have to do is as follows. There's a link in the description below, and my associate Chris, my chief operating officer, just pasted a link to the course in the chat box. Just click that special 25, click that, and when it gets, you'll see, and you'll click purchase. After you click that, you'll have to create a username and password, and then I'm just going to say have a coupon, and you can take advantage of our very big, very special 25% off discount until today, until midnight Eastern time, which is 5 p.m. UK time. So you can do that and instantly do it. The link is in the description. Of course, the link is Chris, the link is also in the description of the video as well, right? And there's also a 25% coupon. Make sure you use that coupon because we want you to get the best deal, and we want you to get Cloud Hired. Omar, we're excited to work with you. David A., as a Nigerian yourself, you're very excited to see the advancements that Nigeria is making in the tech world. Wonderful. Your plans are one day to go back and establish more resources there. David A., I think it's fantastic. I really, really do. That's why I'm so enjoying the programs we're doing with the Cloud Heroes Africa. I've got so many students from Cameroon and Nigeria that are volunteering in sub-Saharan Africa right now. And even people from Vietnam and people from America and people from South America, we're all doing it. And I constantly go speak to these groups, constantly. And I actually love doing it because it's exciting to see the excitement building. So I constantly present. I presented to universities in Ghana. I'm constantly presenting in Cameroon. I've done it in Nigeria, and I love it, David. So yeah, I'm excited to see all the advancements. I'm excited to see the development. When we're talking about a country that has some of the most natural resources in the world, and 200 million people. Now imagine, technology comes in there, some blockchain, some cloud. Everybody knows how to use it. It's going to be real hard when using blockchain, especially if it's off the cloud in a distributed environment, for anybody to cheat or steal or take other people's resources, because it's all going to be in a public blockchain. And guess what? That's really, really exciting. So we see lots of great things there, and we're super excited by it. Okay, so let me go through a few things with you all. On Thursday, we have our How to Get Your First Cloud Architect Job webinar. We'd love to see you there. This week, we're doing free CCNA training. If you've missed any of it, you can catch up on some of it. They're all posted on our YouTube channel. And of course, don't forget to download your completely free AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate and Professional book. We will tell you what is the cloud. We'll describe a lot more of the technology and how it works, because we want you to get, guess what? Cloud hired. Anybody can get you certified. There's lots of people on that, but at Go Cloud Careers and Go Cloud Architects, we're getting you cloud hired. So you can get that cloud architect job, the solution architect job, because I want you to have the best career ever. So we're excited to have you here. A little bit short on time, so we must go in about 2 minutes. But Tom Orpheus, it was super great to see you. See you tomorrow for CCNA. Omar, we'd love to work with you. It's a great time to sign up. Hope to see you in class tomorrow. We're going to have a very fun, security-oriented class tomorrow. If you all had a good time today, if you can hit the like button, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, and if you can type hashtag cloud hired, because everything we do is about getting people cloud hired. So if you can type a hashtag cloud hired, and we'll see all of you tomorrow at 2 p.m. or 12 p.m. for the rest of the Cisco training this week. I'll make sure you guys wanted it. We'll do a free interview session towards the end of the month, because that sounds like a great idea. It's an honor to be with you. Sandy, congratulations. And congratulations on getting that cloud architect job. We're very proud of you and very excited for you as well. Love getting these kind of news on these calls. So Gabriel, yes, cloud hired. Absolutely. So thank you all. It's been an honor and a privilege to see you. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day.